There's so much good music that could be added to Super Smash Bros. On the Switch that it couldn't be contained to a single video. The immense soundtracks of Brawl and Wii U were some of the biggest highlights of those games. Hearing so many great songs with fantastic remixes and rearrangements, you can't help but want more. And that's exactly why we're here. We've already given some of our picks in Volume 1, and we encourage you to check that out if you haven't already. But we're here with even more songs that should be in the new Smash Bros. As always, there's a lot to choose from, so with Volume 2, we'll be covering the Legend of Zelda, Wario, and Punch-Out franchises. Once again, we're putting our heads together to have myself, Ash, and John pick one song for all three, making for 9 songs total. And then we'll have Andre weigh in with a single choice from among those 3 series to bring us to an even 10. Not only that, but in an effort to provide a better sense of what the songs will actually be like in the context of Smash, we'll be showing off each one with a 1-minute match with the sound effects on. That way you'll really be able to hear whether you like our ideas or not. With that said, let's break out the ballads for The Legend of Zelda.
The obvious choice here probably would have been Breath of the Wild's infamous trailer theme, or perhaps the variation on the main theme that plays during Champion Link's final battle with Dark Beast Ganon. And while either of those would be excellent choices from Zelda's latest game, what I really want to hear while I'm smashing it up is the standard boss theme that plays when you fight the Blight Ganons. Why, you might ask? Well, because my greatest musical weakness is leitmotif, and the way Ganon's theme is incorporated into this song starting at about the 1-minute mark gives me goosebumps every single time. It's so good! Now, each Blight Ganon theme actually uses slightly different instrumentation that's reflective of the champion who fell to it. So instead of picking just one, I think it'd be ideal to have a mix that progresses through all 4 variations before looping. But if I did have to pick just one, it'd be the Windblight Ganon theme for the way it utilizes that awesome accordion that's so closely associated with Revali, Cass, and the Rito in general.
It might seem an obvious choice to you, Ash, but there's a reason for that. The Switch presentation theme is the most iconic song in Breath of the Wild, even if it never actually played during the game itself. But it was included in the official soundtrack, so I'm counting it. Especially since I still get chills from listening to it. The start is really slow, which might be a problem for Smash, but once it gets going, it doesn't stop, and I feel this mighty need to save a kingdom, or, beat up Ganondorf in Smash.
3, 2, 1, go!
Despite their minuscule appearance in the game, each of Breath of the Wild's champions has a wonderful accompanying theme that captures their personalities better than any form of dialogue. I might need your help with your imagination here. While all songs vary in tempo and tone, I think a new rendition in the style of Brawl's Ocarina of Time medley could do a brilliant job of bringing these pieces together. For demonstration purposes, we've decided to go with the cast renditions from the Champion's Ballad, but I'm picturing something with a lot more punch.
3, 2, 1, go!
Moving on from Zelda, what kind of toots or tunes do we want from Wario? To be honest, I've never actually played Wario Land Shake It. I love the previous Wario Lands, but never got around to this one. And that seems to be a shame because as I was listening to the soundtrack, Bamboozle Village immediately caught my ear. The peppy sounds, the Japanese influence, and the sheer high energy makes me love it despite not knowing the source material. The fact that it makes me want to play the original game means that it's perfect for Smash, as it could inspire the same in other Nintendo fans who skipped it originally.
How do you represent Wario musically? I mean, what is the guy like? Garlic, farting apparently, and gold. It's that gold part that Neon City brilliantly illustrates with the buzzing, jazzy vibe of a casino. This track would go brilliantly with any stage representing Wario Land. We've yet to actually have one in Smash, but still, first time for anything.
3, 2, 1, go!
I feel like I'm one of the only people who even remembers Wario World, and hey, if we're being truthful, there's a good reason for that. It wasn't a particularly memorable game, but it did have some great music, and the jazzy, almost mischievous-sounding Greenhorn Forest theme in particular is just so thoroughly Wario that this one ended up being a pretty easy pick for me, which is surprising considering I'm not much of a Wario fan.
3, 2, 1, go!
Let's end it off with Punch-Out and its awesome hooks.
The lineup of Smash music spans such a wide array of genres, and throwing more jazz in there is something I'll gladly support. Punch-Out's original NES theme gets a lot of attention, especially in Smash. However, the Super Nintendo offering actually has an interesting variety of tracks that aren't just variations on the main Punch-Out theme. Minor Circuit, with its fast beat and catchy rhythm, would be perfect for any intense duel, and it would lend itself really well to a metal cover with real guitars and drums. It's certainly one of the most action-packed songs from the Punch-Out franchise, and something I'd love to hear in Smash.
3, 2, 1, go!
Punch-Out may not be as prolific a series as Zelda or Wario, but it's got plenty of Smash-appropriate tunes all the same. And even though I found several worthy candidates from both the original game and Super Punch-Out when I was researching my pick for this series, I've ultimately got to go with Soda Popinski's theme from the Wii version of Punch-Out. Or is that Vodka Drunkinski? Whichever name you prefer, who can argue with that rousing all-male chorus spurring our favorite Russian boxer on to victory? But boxing isn't the only kind of fight this powerful anthem-like song can enhance. I mean, just listen to how much gravitas it adds to a Smash match.
3, 2, 1, go!
Kid was the only new fighter featured in Punch-Out Wii, and while he wasn't that difficult, he had a fun hook and a great theme. All of the characters' songs in Punch-Out Wii featured the main theme in some way, but this disco-inspired track makes for something a little different compared to songs from other games. Its biggest flaw is that the loop is kind of short, but that's an issue with many Punch-Out songs. Still, I think it'd be a lot of fun to send my opponents down into a disco inferno in Smash Switch.
3, 2, 1, go!
So we've hit 9 songs, leaving only one more to suggest from these 3 series. And we're going to leave it up to Andre to weigh in on what song he wants most from either The Legend of Zelda, Wario, or Punch-Out.
You guys had 3 Zelda picks and they're all from Breath of the Wild? Really? And if all 3 somehow make it into the next Smash Bros. Game, that would outnumber the amount of tracks in Majora's Mask got by a factor of 3, and that's across the entire Smash Bros. Series. So I think it's about time that we fix Majora's Mask's lack of representation by cheating a little bit and combining 3 different tracks into one. Yeah, you probably know where I'm going with this. Imagine a remix of Majora's Mask Clock Town that combines the theme from each of the 3 days into a single track, and the entire thing would be synced to the moon's 3-day cycle, with the music growing more and more intense as the moon looms ever closer. Well, as it turns out, you don't have to imagine it at all, because I discovered a fantastic remix by YouTuber Knockisk that does exactly just that. Now, I did have to shorten the track a bit to match the footage, so please make sure to check out the full track on their channel once you're done here. You'll find a link to it in the description below. And with that, let's take a look and a listen to how Clocktown could work in Super Smash Bros. On Nintendo Switch.
Ready? Go!
We want to thank Knockeast once again for the use of his song. Now, there are a lot of different choices that could be made with each series, but these are the ones that we personally wanted to see most in Smash Bros. For the Switch from this set. And of course, there's still a lot of other songs from the rest of the series represented in Smash to choose from. But what about you? What tunes would you most want to see from Zelda, Wario, and Punch-Out? And what 3 franchises should we cover next? Let us know in the comments, and as always, be sure to subscribe to GameXplain for more on Smash Bros., the Nintendo Switch, and other things gaming.